Hello. Welcome back, everybody. We are in the final stretch of making my beautiful E36 a manual E36. Now, if you guys remember the last episode, we finally got the automatic transmission out. That thing was 160 plus pounds. I leaked most of the fluid onto the floor. We don't talk about that. But with all of the automatic stuff out, it is finally time to start putting all of the manual stuff in. And so my goal for right now, it's pretty early in the morning, but my goal right now, if you guys remember, the torque converter did not come off with the automatic transmission. So my goal tonight is to get the torque converter off, get the starter plate behind it, and get the rear main seal replaced. Then, if I have the energy, I'm going to put the entire clutch and flywheel system in, and then we're gonna call it a night. But before we get to that part, I need to do something. Just out of frame is this disgusting mess that I call my garage. So before we start making everything look very nice for the car, I think I need to clean everything up because if I'm being completely honest, I don't know where all of my tools are. This video, although maybe a week past the last video, is about 3 weeks in total time from the making of the last video. So I've just been super busy with everything going on in life, and we're back. We have some motivation to start working on this car, and yes, that motivation is at 2 o'clock in the morning. So without further ado, let's clean up the garage, make sure we know where everything's at. We have the entire interior over there and all of the new manual stuff over here. I was able to clean up all of the insulation that was under the car, which is really why I have the motivation to start working on this thing again, because it was an absolute mess under there. And you know, first off, you just don't want to breathe that stuff in. Very bad for you. And also, I didn't want it all over my clothing. It sticks, and I don't want it to get stuck to other clothing, blah, 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 whole story. But I just took the vacuum and honestly just sucked all that shit up. And so underneath the car is completely clean. I was able to figure out what the oil leak was. And so we now have no new oil on the floor that wasn't already there before. But let's clean up the garage. Let's get everything ready. Let's take out the torque converter. Let's take out the starter flywheel. It's kind of essentially what it is a flywheel as far as I'm aware. But then after that, we're gonna take out the rear main seal, and then we're gonna work backwards. We're gonna put on the flywheel, we're gonna put on the clutch plate and then the pressure plate, and then we're gonna call it a night. But I'm so excited. I really have not delved deep into the products that I bought yet because I've been waiting for this moment. So without me continuously talking, let's clean up this garage because I need to know where all my shit is. Okay, so we have just fully cleaned up everything. And now I know it doesn't look like much, it kind of looks the exact same, but to me, I now know where all of my tools are, which is more important than all the shit that's on the floor behind me. We're back to square one, and we're finally able to go under the car. Okay, so now that we are under the car, as you guys can see, this is the torque converter right here, and right there with the little notches on it, you can barely see. That is going to be the starter plate. I don't know the actual term for that, but that's what I'm gonna call it. So this thing should be filled with fluid, which is really the only downside to what we're doing right now is we might get dirty as shit, and we're trying not to. So we're gonna just yank this off because there's literally nothing holding this thing together. So I'm gonna pull on it and hopefully I get lucky. Then we're gonna zap off the bolts holding on this little plate with the teeth right here, and then we should be pretty much done. We're under the car. I have this trusty thing here. Looks like I did miss quite a bit of insulation, but we got 90% of it, so we'll go back out of it. But if I'm lucky, one, I won't fucking smash my head on the car, and two, I'll just dry hump this jack and pray that it doesn't give out. So this thing might actually be... Oh, fuck. Hey, we got it. Yeah, this thing's pretty heavy. If I had to guess, 25, 30 pounds? I don't know if fluid is supposed to come out of it or not. Okay, maybe not. But for safety, we're gonna put it here. Nice. Oh yeah, as you guys might be able to see, that bitch was rusty. That's exciting. Okay, cool. So now we have, again, what I'm calling the starter plate. I don't really know what it's called, but the little teeth here, your starter grabs that and spins it and starts your engine. So pretty simple, pretty easy name to understand. So let's get this out and let's zap this thing off, which is also really fucking rusty. Holy shit. Hopefully that even comes off. Yeah, so this is a better look at what I was talking about. This is what I'm calling the starter plate. So we're just gonna zap off those bolts in the middle and the whole thing should drop down. It smells like hot metal in here. Okay. Yeah. So this is that weird starter plate thing I was talking about. So yeah, your starter just grabs onto these teeth and fucking pulls it and then starts your engine. So don't want to damage that. I mean, I can because I have a new one. It's called a flywheel. But yeah, oh dude, that looks so crazy. See, now we're finally at all the good stuff. So this is actually the rear main seal, this black rubber piece surrounded by the metal. So that is what we're going to be taking out. So what we have to do is we have to take out all of these bolts. Actually, the nice thing about this is you can literally see every bolt that I have to take out here. And we were back. It is the next day, and there's actually a change of plans that's going to happen. We're going to install our brand new clutch kit because I actually ended up doing the rear main seal that night. It took almost no time at all. I was going to save it for the next day, but I decided to do it anyway. And we kind of have like good news, I suppose. There was a leak. There was a very obvious spot where there was oil getting behind the metal plate and the back of the ring was just covered in oil. So good news, I guess, is that we have replaced everything that should hopefully stop the oil leak. So that's good news. Aside from that, as long as I did it right, there should be no leak. So great. So we're actually going to go ahead and put in the clutch kit. So we have the pressure plate, the flywheel, and the clutch disc itself. So let's get into the car and let's install these. Hopefully we can. It might be a little tricky. Okay, so this is the rear main seal. This is where we ended off the last clip. So right here, everything has been replaced except for this middle piece. Obviously that's connected to the engine. One thing we do have to remember to replace is this. There's a little grommet that goes back here. It's just on the floor over there, but I need to make sure not to forget that because it's kind of part of the like dust shield, so I need to just snap that back in. But let's get on to the fun stuff. So this bitch is heavy as hell. So as long as I don't drag it across the floor. Fortunately, we have a little dowel right here, so we're gonna use that to kind of huck this bad boy up here. Now it might be a little difficult because the starter might not want to cooperate with us. Okay, so we have the flywheel on, but we need to torque it down because this is one of the most important parts of the car, and if this breaks, well, I'm fucked. I believe it's torqued down to about 77 foot-pounds of torque. Now, I have personally never used one of these things before, so this is going to be a first, and hopefully I don't fuck it up. And also, it also helps to have a person here helping you, but we ain't got that. So we're going to use our handy-dandy light, try and figure out how to use this thing. So I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and use my body to like press against this. I doubt this will work, but it's definitely worth a shot. Damn. How tight does this bitch need to be? It doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to do this. Unless... Nope, not going to happen. Fuck. Okay, well that sucks. Oh, I got one. Oh, it's gonna be a bitch. Okay, so that was a huge pain in the ass, but as you guys can tell by the cute little X's that I put on each bolt is torqued down to 77 foot-pounds of torque. Common theme in this video is if you have someone who can help you with this shit, it would make life 100 times easier. Anyway, we are going to spray this off with brake clean to make sure there's no oil or anything on it. Then we're gonna put on the clutch disc, and then we're gonna put on the pressure plate, and then we're calling it a fucking night. Okay, so now we also have the pilot bearing in, which I'm a little concerned about, only in the sense of because some videos mention that you hit it all the way back until you hit a stopping point, and in a couple of videos I've seen it where people don't have it like that, so I guess we're gonna find out with a trial by fire. But next we're gonna grab our clutch disc, which is this beautiful baby right here. We're gonna open her up. And then we're going to slide our clutch alignment tool into it. And that is going to help us align the rest of the parts. So fortunately for me, it literally says pressure plate side. So this is how it's going to go. So I'm going to lay this on myself. I'm then going to grab this nice little clutch alignment tool, break open this little bag, which looks like it's fucked up. Throw that to the side. Next, flip this, read that. Okay, pressure plate side, slide that bitch in there. And then it should, if I did everything properly, should just kind of, yeah. Boom, cool. So that is the clutch disc on. Next, we have another another very heavy part, which we're also going to wipe off with some brake clean, just to make sure it ain't got shit on it. Fuck, this piece is heavy. Well, now that my shorts are slightly more covered, we're going to spray this bad boy down. Just don't want to make sure I have any random grease or anything that's going to cause this bitch to not want to work properly. Also, I'm definitely huffing way too many fumes tonight, so we are doing good. Next, we have some dowels that we have to find to look exactly like this one right here. And I did just touch one of the sides, but I covered my hands in brake clean, so I think I'm safe. Okay, this little bolt should hold that in real quick while I get the rest of them set. So these are set, and these get torqued to 18 foot-pounds of torque, so it should be a lot easier than the last ones. So now that we have the clutch kit fully installed, I think we're able to start moving on to some of the more interior, less get covered in shit parts. We're going to take out the current pedal assembly, which doesn't obviously include a clutch pedal, and install the new one, which obviously does have a clutch pedal. So that is going to be what's next on the agenda. Then after we get that in, it's kind of be all of the little knickknacks that I bought. Extra little bushings, the guibo, cleaning off the transmission. After this, honestly, this is probably one of the most time-intensive parts, aside from, you know, getting the transmission off and all the other issues that I've had today. So we're now going to move inside the car tomorrow. We're gonna take out the pedals, we're gonna install the new pedals, and then we can start messing with all the new bushings. So let's get to tomorrow. We are back, everybody, and there's one thing, the most important thing that you might notice, and that is, your boy looks a lot better. Well, that reason would be because I just got a brand new camera just a few days ago. Now, I typically shot on a Canon T5i, my favorite camera that I have ever owned, and one of the first cameras I have ever owned. But this weekend, I splurged a little bit, probably shouldn't have, but I wanna make this stuff look good. I bought a Sony ZV-E10, just the Mark 1, not the Mark 2. Mark 2 is a few $100s more, don't need it. That is enough about talking about my brand new camera, because I'm sure most of you guys are here to watch the manual swap. So I just wanted to pop in. If you guys like cameras, I don't know really anything about them. I just know that this thing's pretty cool, and I'm very happy with my choice. So let's move into the inside of the car. Now that we're done with everything else, we got the clutch kit on. Our main goal right now is we are going to be taking out the pedal assembly, the old one, and replacing it with the one with the manual pedal. Shouldn't take that long. It looked a lot harder than I thought it'd be. Unfortunately, I do have the new top trim that's gonna go in, so I don't actually have to do any cutting for the new pedal on the old trim. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off this panel right here, which once you take this off, it'll show a little kick pad right here. And then once we get that off, we're gonna have a lot more room to work in. And essentially, if you guys are wondering, main goal, get these two pedals out. And if you see there's some holes back there, we're gonna break into those because they're not actually available on an automatic, because this thing doesn't have clutch lines or anything useful like that. So we're gonna take these off, we're gonna take this off and that off. It might be a little awkward to film. I've seen a lot of people complain about filming it, so it might kind of be like a little montagey thing of me just doing it. So let's get to it. Okay, so we've just pulled the entire bottom part out. We got the kick plate out and we got the regular like cover trim. So now is the fun part. I don't really know how to record or explain what I'm about to do, but if you're curious, there's a bunch of videos. There's one by Quinn Clark, I believe is the name, which his series, he has an entire series rebuilding his car, and like he has an entire series like manual swapping his E36, and he goes through everything like down to the minute detail. Turns out that's the guy from Throttle. I didn't know that, but if you guys know cars, you guys definitely know the Throttle YouTube channel. He has some really good videos on how to do that, so I'm actually just going to try and do it. I know I need extensions. I think it's a 10, a 13, and something else. I need some needle nose pliers to get like a little hook off and a bunch of little small stuff, but we're just gonna try and do it and see what happens. Let's get it. I was just looking at my floor, and does that grease stain not look like a chicken wing? Like that is absolutely like a drumstick or something. That shit looked delicious. Also, one last thing is, I don't know if you guys saw it in the video, but yeah, my kick plate had literally one bolt holding it in. So that's not like super gangster moment, but well, I guess it worked. Okay guys, so we are now under the car, and this is the pedal assembly, that whole metal bracket you see right there.
We have the brake pedal, gas pedal, but we shouldn't have to touch the gas pedal because that's not actually connected to anything we need. But this brake pedal right here, as you guys can see, this is the entire unit that we're gonna be taking out. We need to get out these 4, what are they, maybe 13s. So if you guys can see this clip right here that's got a bunch of rust on it, I need to unhook that. That apparently goes to the brake booster. Not 100% sure what that is, if I'm being completely honest, but we need to unhook that. We need to undo these bolts and unplug this stuff. If you guys see this super duper rusty pin right here, this is actually, if you were to use the exact same assembly, that is the pin that the new clutch pedal would go onto. And for some reason, mine is like hella rusted out. If you guys can see that, holy crap. Nice. I won't be able to see it, but that right there, that's the bolt. Okay, so now I'm gonna take off that nice little spring that I showed you guys earlier that was quite rusty. That is what holds the pedal to the brake system. So I guess I'm gonna try and grab the spring like this, kind of press it. There's a clip on the other side of the pedal, and we're just gonna kind of work together to try and break it loose. And these two things right here, we got the spring and the clip. Spring wasn't that hard once I figured out what to do. Clip was kind of a bitch. But the spring does rotate, so rotate it and tap the back. And so now we're gonna take our mighty, mighty extension. We're gonna reach all the way back to the pedals and we're gonna break it free. And just like that, we got her out. Cool. Okay, so now that we have gotten everything out, this is what it looks like. This is just the little fork that connects into the brake pedal. And aside from that, that's kind of it. We did everything. It was not as hard as I thought it would be, genuinely. These bolts came off super easy. I have like a 2-foot long extension. Essentially the hardest part was getting the entire assembly out from behind here because I had to kind of push back on it a little bit and then kind of like pull these wires down a little bit and then move like the tip of the assembly, this thing right here. I had to move this, and so I kind of pushed the wires down and kind of like slowly push it through without ripping any of the wires apart. And after that, yeah, it came off actually like perfectly simple. I am a little concerned. I feel like I should be. Why there's so much rust on everything? I don't know. But yeah, this is what I meant. I didn't mean to say the spring rotates, but this clip rotates. And obviously this isn't the one that I just took off, but very similar, looks just like it actually. So now I think we're about ready to put in the brand new pedals and actually get some real work done. I did buy a new slave cylinder. So for anyone wondering like, oh my God, you're gonna use that? No, I was thinking about it. I really had no concern with like using it. But after looking at it a little bit more and realizing that like a new slave wouldn't be too expensive, I bought it. So yeah, I think it's about time we set everything back up and get back to work. So I've got some unfortunate news. As I'm trying to put in the brand new pedal assembly, I couldn't get it to work. And so I tried to figure out why. I took it all apart. This is actually the bracket from the brand new pedal assembly. And the issue lies with this. These 4 bolt holes don't match up, which wasn't really a big deal. I was like, okay, cool. I'll just take everything off this and put it on my old one. Well, I could and should do that, but I'm missing some parts. There's a giant spring that's supposed to help keep the clutch in position when it's not pressed in. It kind of the whole point for that top piece right there. It's a little spring that catches onto the clutch pedal and keeps it disengaged. So I don't have that, and that spring goes right about here on the old assembly. The other thing is it's a lot shorter. The other assembly goes up at least, I would say, 1.5 inches, 2 more inches. And so this little part where you screw the bolt into is actually much higher, and this doesn't reach it. So even if I were to like drill out these holes, it still wouldn't reach. So unfortunately, I've got the entire pedal assembly out, but I've got nothing to do. Kind of just chilling. Yeah, so that's pretty unfortunate. Not super stoked about that, only because I've spent so much time doing this and I was really excited to get this done tonight. But I mean, in a sense, like it's pretty much done. You know, all I gotta do is get the missing pieces. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna cut to when we have that, because after that's installed, there's really not much to do. Once we have the pedal assembly installed, we're gonna install the shift knob and the shifter. Fuck, dude, we put in the transmission.
fill it with fluid, check everything. You know, we're gonna update the transmission. There's a bunch of stuff that has to go into it. The new polyurethane bushings, the fork, fucking all the shit that I can't remember the names of right now. But that's all gonna go in. And I don't know. I don't know what to do. I guess cry? Yeah, this is probably the way to go. But no, so we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna grab some new parts. Very unfortunate because this is like literally the last thing I need to do, as far as I'm aware, aside from put the transmission in. So yeah, anywho, let's cut to the next clip. Peace. So I've got some updates. I did order the brand new clutch pedal assembly. Kind of annoying. I got it from FCP Euro. It was about like $100 that I didn't want to spend, but to finish the project, it had to be done. And next, I did realize something. So I was having some issues, right? So I have the clutch line installed that goes through the firewall and it kind of wraps around, right? And I was looking at some diagrams of what it's supposed to look like and it looked different. I did forget that this whole assembly that I got, this whole transmission, everything came from an E46. So there are some actual big differences between the two. The main one being the way the clutch line connects into the slave cylinder. So I was trying to look at some diagrams. I was like, nothing looks familiar. Like I don't have any of these parts. Turns out I didn't, but I did a little bit of research and I found out that I bought everything for an E46. So I bought an E46 slave cylinder and the way it connects on is slightly different from an E36. I think they're pretty much the same thing, but just the way the clutch line connects is completely different. So fortunately, I figured out my issue and everything should be good. So that's on the way, the clutch kit's on the way. But again, unfortunately, it says it might take a week from now for all that stuff to get here. So that does suck super bad, but while we wait, I might as well start working on the transmission itself so that that's all done and we can just start working. So my goal right now, we're gonna get the transmission outside. It's a beautiful sunny day. We're gonna degrease it, we're gonna power wash it, and then we're gonna start putting on all the new parts. We got the throwout bearing, we got the bushings, we got all this little stuff that we're gonna put on there. And then we kind of just gotta wait till the new parts get here, which is usually how it goes. But hopefully it won't take a week and I can get this video out sooner for you guys. So let's make this thing look brand new. Okay, so we have just decked out the brand new transmission. We have new mounts on it, we have a new guibo or flex plate on it, and we have, I believe it's called the pivot pin. It's that little plastic piece that I was hitting in with a hammer. The old one was absolutely destroyed, so I decided, it was like $1. So I decided to go with that, and I just beat the fuck out of it with a hammer to make it go back in place. I'm assuming that's how you do it because I see no other way of it going in. So the transmission is beautified. It's been cleaned off. The inside is cleaner. I re-greased most of the things and I covered up the electrical plugins before washing it in case anyone was wondering and you didn't see it. Don't worry. I think that's for the reverse light sensor. So I should have reverse lights. And if I don't, well, I'm fucked and I can't drive the car. But now we just wait. The transmission is all good. It's clean, it's beautified, it has all the new parts on it as far as I can remember, aside from everything that needs to go inside of it, which I'm now remembering. So let's get to that real quick.
So what we have here now is the slave cylinder will go right back there and it'll press on this fork. And when it presses on this fork, it uses the leverage from right here and pushes the throwout bearing forward. Then it kind of activates the whole clutch system, and that's how we shift gears.
Okay, so now we've hit the point where the transmission is actually done. I did forget all that stuff on the inside, but now I'm gonna bring it back in the garage. I'm gonna just wash the cars because the daily cars do need a little bit of love and not just the E36. We're essentially just going to be waiting for the rest of the parts to show up, which kind of sucks, but hopefully within a week they should be here. I do live in Texas, so hopefully less than that. But transmission's all cleaned up and ready to go. We'll do the pedal assembly, we'll do the wiring, and then I believe the transmission drive shaft, and she's ready to start. So let's skip to the future when we have the parts to continue the build. You guys have missed so much in the last 2 weeks. And yes, you heard me correct. It has taken about 2 total weeks to get all the parts that I needed, because the first time I messed up. I bought the wrong parts. I didn't buy enough parts. So I ended up shipping those off back to where they came from. And I ended up going up with some different parts. And some of those parts include a chase base from master to slave cylinder single tube, which I think is going to save me a lot of time and a lot of effort. And I've already put it in because very boring. I don't know how I would even show that, but it was super simple. I would recommend it. It was about $20, $30 more than the initial part that I bought, but for it just being one piece, it's going to connect the transmission to the master. It's totally worth it. And next, I received the entire clutch pedal kit from FCP Euro, and it came with everything but 2 little dowel pins, which is very unfortunate, and I'm a little upset about it because that's all that I needed. And then I had to wait about 3 or 4 more days for those to get to me. And it cost me another $14, which honestly, if they would have tacked on the $14 to the initial price, I wouldn't have cared because it would have been everything. But I had to go out of my way, unfortunately. It's not FCP Euro's fault. It might be, but that's not the point. The point is, I then went on to install the clutch pedal kit and then the hose that goes all the way up from the master cylinder up to the brake reservoir. I cut the hose too short by about this much, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, that's a lot. But it's just enough to make it not connect to the brake reservoir. So now I had to go to O'Reilly's and I had to go get some more tubing. So, I mean, at least we got new tubing and it's not 23 years old anymore. So hopefully less prone to breaking. But then I had to figure out my brake pedal situation because the brake pedals for the 330i that I got don't work in the car. I know. There's issue after issue with this car and this whole swap, but it's beautiful because in the end, I was able to bring the old pedal, the automatic pedal, the big beefy boy. I was able to bring that to one of my buddies. He mocked it up to the new pedal and he cut that bitch with a saw and he made it perfect and it fit like a dime, and let's check it out. And so here it is. The old pedal, this is the old pedal by the way, was about this much wider. And like it would have been fine except it went wider both ways. So I would have had a high probability of hitting the clutch or the brake at the same time, which as you guys might have assumed, that's not good. I could have definitely broken everything. All this hard work that I've done to this fucking car could have been broken in a literal instant. So he was nice enough. He did all the work. This is old, but I have a bunch of new parts on here except for that. Don't like to talk about that. But pretty much the entire pedal assembly is brand new bushings, new little clips, you know. This is the new hose. The old hose had like a nylon kind of fabric outing to it. And I asked at O'Reilly's, so I was like, is there a difference? Does this matter? And the consensus was no, it doesn't matter. I mean, if anything, this is gonna be nicer anyway because the other one was so old, I had to cut off the old pipe because it was like stuck to the little nipple right there. So this is nice, and I got a little hose clamp on it just to be extra safe. So yeah, everything is going well. Everything's all greased up. This is actually just ready to go into the car. I did have to get a couple new bolts for this because one wasn't long enough, and then I actually ran into a small issue, which is with this bolt right here. When it's fully screwed in all the way, it actually blocks you from tightening this. So what I've thought about doing is I'm just gonna put the whole thing on, and I mean, it's pretty tight. I'm not gonna lie, it's tight, and I could just leave it like that. There's just the smallest gap right there. But I did buy an angle grinder. I know, I'm so excited. And I'm probably, if it gets here before I end up putting this pedal assembly in,
I'm just gonna cut literally like what's right here, cut that off. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna fit perfectly. Or it can act as like a safety, and if I ever wanna take this pedal assembly out, I have to reach a very, very tiny 10 mil back here and undo just this one bolt. So, other than that, this is completely finished. This new hose is gonna be great. I got more than enough, so this time when I cut it and I fuck it up again, I know what I'm doing. And for reference, this is how much I cut off a little too extra to be able to fit it on there. Just over 2 centimeters. Which is massive, by the way, guys. If you're wondering, absolutely massive. But that was the whole reason I had to buy a new hose. But, you know, honestly, it might work out. I also did install 2 new lights into the little garage door thing right there. And unfortunately, yes, I know the light bulbs do not match right now. I know that. The issue is a fucking car. I can't reach that one. And this one right here, just a bunch of parts on the ground. So I'm gonna get to those. I have the bulbs, but this thing is so much brighter than it was, which I'm not sure if I like the cold feeling of it, because I have all these lights, you know, I have all these beautiful bright lights that I have in the garage for this, what you are watching it. I'm not sure if I like it. It might be a little too cold in here, and it might just be because it's 12 degrees outside in Austin, Texas, but that's not the point. The point is everything is going to plan, and it definitely hasn't been an annoying 2 weeks that I've been trying to get this video out, but bear with me now. Clutch pedal assembly, brake reservoir. Connect the new chase base lines to the new slave cylinder. Tie that bitch off somewhere far away so it's not in my way. Transmission, drive shaft, exhaust. A little bit of wiring to get the car started. Start car. I guess I do have to change some fluids. I do have to change out the transmission fluid just to make sure it's brand new. And I'm gonna do the diff fluid, and I'm gonna do an oil change. So, those are just like basic maintenance. You know, I'm sure the differential fluid has never been changed before. I'm sure the trans fluid is fine, but I'm gonna change it anyway because I already bought it. And the oil change, I haven't changed the oil in this car in over a year. That's how long it has taken to hit 5,000 miles, and it hasn't even hit 5,000 miles yet. Sorry, I just hit my mic. So, we're gonna get on with that. We're going to install the clutch pedal assembly. We're gonna get that done. Then once that is done, I'm going to connect the brake reservoir to the master cylinder with the new hose. I'm going to let that gravity feed just a little bit so that it can kind of work its way through the whole system with the fluid. And then I'm going to just do the changes. I'll probably save the oil change till last because that's, you know, like kind of whatever. But the diff fluid and the trans fluid are probably the most important, especially the trans fluid. Obviously, don't want that to be dry when I'm putting it together. But let's get started on that, and I think that's everything. So let's cut to getting some shit done and hopefully finishing up this car and at least getting it started. Okay, so I just got done filling up the transmission fluid, which is great because undoing the bolt that allows the transmission fluid to come out, almost nothing did. So really good news is that I preemptively was going to change it anyway. If I would have just free sent it, we would have been fucked. So this is my little setup, and I wouldn't recommend to anybody else, but this was it. I had the back of the transmission on this little plank right here on this jack stand, and then the front of the transmission on this jack stand. And yeah, I absolutely would not recommend this to anybody because it was sketchy as shit, but I can't lie, yes, I did spill some. It worked, and really that's all that matters, and you can tell by the little mess over there, I definitely cover the entire floor in it. But good news is everything is completely filled up, so now it's time to move on to the diff, and then we're gonna put in the pedal assembly. Okay, now this job I'm actually kind of excited for a little bit, only because everything I've ever seen on the internet states how bad differential fluid smells, and I've never experienced it before. So I'm lucky and fortunate enough to be in the predicament where I get to find out. So I'm pretty excited to see how bad this shit really smells, because it can't really be that bad. Like there's some pretty bad smelling fluids in this car, so I can't imagine this being like the worst of the worst, you know? And then also great tips from Quinn Clark once again on, there's not a lot of clearance between this top part right here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our 14, we're gonna stuff it in here, wiggle that bitch in there, And so clearly, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's no room here. There's literally one of my small fingers right there. So we're gonna take a 14 wrench and we're gonna try and get this bitch out without either kicking the camera or hitting the dozens of other shit behind the camera. Oh, fuck. Oh, I dented the fuck out of this tool. No, dude, I don't know if I can change the diff fluid. This thing, oh, wait. It came loose. Let's fucking go. Oh, it does kind of stink. It doesn't smell fucking horrible though. Hold up, let me, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't gotten to the part where there's like a lot of fluid coming out yet. So let me, okay. Is there any fluid in here? Should I be worried? Oh shit, there we go. Okay, cool, I got it out. It doesn't smell, well, I mean, it smells pretty bad, but like it smells like car. So we've just completed the task of doing the transmission fluid and the differential fluid, and I cheaped out on my tools. Like, so the little, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the little suction ball that I had, I sat there squeezing it for probably 45 minutes to get all the fluid in there, but it did end up working out. They make a cheap tool that's about $15. I just didn't want to spend it. The thing that I had was like $3, so I cheaped out. It would have saved me a lot of time. I'm cold. I'm very cold. It's getting cold here up in Texas right now, so not a lot of fun to work on the car. But the transmission fluid is done. The differential fluid is done, which literally means that we are going to put in the clutch pedal assembly. We are then going to connect the brake reservoir. We're gonna let that gravity feed while I put on the transmission. I'm so excited. And we're a little bit closer than we were. And that was all preventative maintenance. Without further ado, let's start on the clutch pedal assembly and pretty much get this car done, guys. God damn, I'm so excited. Let's get it. All right, everybody, it is the next day and arguably one of the most stressful days because I now have the opportunity to put the transmission into my car and I'm super nervous. So we're gonna put it in, we're gonna put a few bolts in, and then we're gonna do the rest and hopefully not break anything. So let's get the transmission ready. I'm gonna set it up on the jack, I think, see if I can roll it under the car and then just try and get it started, slide it onto the, I don't remember the name of it, the little pilot bearing. And then we're good. We should be set, and we're gonna make some progress today. So let's get to it. Also, you can tell it's super serious because I got the overalls on. So we're about to make some crazy progress here. I'm gonna get this fucking transmission done. We're gonna get all the crazy work done. After the transmission's in, we're gonna bleed the clutch, which is the second most important thing of today. Then, if I have time, if I have the energy and the willpower, depending on how this transmission swap goes, we're gonna do the drive shaft, and then we're gonna do the exhaust. And then, if we're feeling up to it, we're gonna start this bad boy. So, let's get to work. It was actually this moment where everything went wrong. Not a single thing from this point on went correctly. The transmission did not want to go on as easy as it looked in every video that I watched. It took me, a buddy, and another buddy to get this transmission into the car. And that took 2 more days of work. I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't go on. We then ended up using the bolts to the transmission to pull the transmission onto the engine because it was the only way we were getting this transmission on. After getting the transmission on, the excitement very quickly died as the cross member that holds the transmission to the car didn't fit. Now yes, the transmission cross member was for an E36. Now, mind you, I just expected everything to work, so I ran into a lot of disappointment after this point and honestly before this point. But the cross member didn't fit, which was terrible. So I used a jack and I held up the transmission until the new cross member came, which was great. Once that arrived, it worked perfectly. Who would have thought that buying the correct parts would work? Then we move on to bleed the clutch, as I'm super excited to finally get this transmission running as I know it's installed. I know it's held up to the car. We have the new polyurethane bushings on it and everything is looking good. Another issue arose where I had an E46 slave cylinder. Not a big issue. Actually, the craziest part is how little the issue was. I had an E36 chase base line and an E46 slave cylinder. The issue was the slave cylinder or the line. It could have been interchangeable. An E46 slave cylinder, the port where the slave line would have connected into is actually facing towards the back of the car. When on an E36, the slave line port faces the front. Now yes, it is quite literally millimeters difference, but that millimeter difference
was the only reason I was not able to bleed the clutch as soon as I finished it up. So then yes, I had to go and order a brand new slave cylinder. I bought one for an E36. It's crazy how everything with a 4 instead of a 3, it truly just didn't work. And it was some of the most aggravating days and dollars spent that I've probably ever had. So then we finally bleed the clutch system and everything is going great. The clutch pedal has a very good feel to it. I'm ready to start up this car. Well, before I start up the car, I wanted to put in the new drive shaft. I want to make sure it works. And as you can guess, it didn't. A 330i drive shaft does not fit into an E36 because it is far, far too long. So I had to run to a junkyard. And well, let's see where it goes. It is another beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. And this site looks familiar. You know, if I had a nickel for every time that I had to come to a junkyard to try and rebuild my E36, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. I'm actually here for one very, very important part, which I'm standing in front of the car right now, is the drive shaft for a ZF manual transmission. The issue is, this car looks like it was sent to hell and back. It looks like it's been on fire, crushed, started to be torn apart. I'm not 100% sure, but so far this is the vibe that we're getting. It looks like it's been caught on fire. This dude had a temp gauge in it for some reason. It is an E36 at the end of the day. I see that nice little shift knob there, and really the only part that we came here to check out is the drive shaft, which hoping that is under here. I got a quick little look at it, and thankfully there's this nice little mat here that I can use to lay on, because this is gonna hurt like shit. I see that someone ripped apart the exhaust, and God bless me, there's the transmission and there's the drive shaft. Hopefully the whole thing is there. I'm assuming it is. I only need the front half, but fortunately someone has already done all the hard work of taking off the exhaust. So now, I mean, there's one other part. These rims are pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, but unfortunately, don't have the money for those. I'm sure they're not super expensive, I just don't feel like getting them. But now it is definitely time to go back to the car, grab our tools, and come rip this bitch out and go home with a brand new drive shaft. And now we are back. We have all of our tools, we're back at the car. I'm gonna use this van next to me to hold my bag of tools. So that's pretty cool of them. But yeah, so as far as I'm aware, this is a 328i. According to the website, according to the VIN, 328i, so it should be a ZF shitter. Here, I wrote the fuck car. A ZF transmission. And I had to use my worked backpack for all this shit, like covered in glass and stuff. So pretty exciting, pretty exciting. So we have to take off that heat shield protector right there, and then we get to the drive shaft. Thank God somebody already tore off this exhaust, because I was worried that was gonna be a huge pain in the ass. God is good, God is real, apparently. So we're gonna tear this off. Let's get to it. So we've just gotten the old heat shielding taken off. Everything looks pretty good except for this. Clearly this joint is absolutely blown out, just like your mother. And so this right here, well, this should be inside of this. I hope that's not cause for catastrophic destruction. Whoa, I just ate a bunch of shit. Catastrophic destruction, but everything else looks pretty good. Fortunately, this is the only part that I need. Maybe I should try and take both, but if anything, this back end is going to be the exact same as to what I already have. This is just the main part, and I may either reuse my one that I currently have on here, or I'm gonna have to buy a new one. But good news is, well, there's not much holding it in, so let's get to it. Nice. So we've just broken the top from the back, which means one thing. We have our part, baby. Let's fucking go. Time to check out the inside. You know what? It has definitely seen better days. You guys can't see that. I don't know what I'm showing you. It has definitely seen better days. But I think it's gonna work. What's up, everybody? It feels like it's been literally forever since I've spoken to the camera, and we're kind of at a weird point, right? So we're just about to take the brains out of the transmission computer kind of doodad. I don't really know what it is, but we're gonna do it. The reason I say that we're at a weird standpoint is because, as you guys know, we just went to the junkyard. We got the front drive shaft, the front part of the drive shaft. I did order a new center support bearing because although mine wasn't in like the worst condition, for 30 bucks, I might as well replace it so I don't have to do it for a very long time. So we're just waiting on that. I did buy a DSSR selector rod, a dual shear selector rod. And unfortunately, of course, it was lost in shipping. It was supposed to be here a few days ago, and I emailed them. I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? And well, it's not coming. So they're sending me another one, so that's great news. But we're just waiting on that. I do have a selector rod from a basic E36 manual swap, so I can use that for now until that gets here. I got all the hardware to connect that, so we're just waiting on 2 parts. So we're gonna take the brains out. We're gonna put the computers back, which was honestly a huge bitch to get out. So I'm glad that the work to take the transmission part out, that what we need to do for the computer, is gonna take about 3 minutes, and it took me probably about an hour to get it all out. And then we're gonna see if the car starts. Honestly, that's my biggest thing right now. If the car starts and I can row through the gears, yes, the tires won't spin because there's no drive shaft, but if I can see below that the Guibo is spinning, I know it's working, you know, like that's essentially it. Like I know the diff has new fluid, the trans has new fluid. I do need to do an oil change, but I can start the car and do an oil change tomorrow or literally anytime that's not right now. I should have done it earlier, but that's beside the point. Anyway, let's get back to what the narration was saying, and let's see if the car starts. Taking out the brains of the car was actually kind of difficult. It was mostly time consuming, and I busted up my knuckles just a couple times, but once I got it all out, it was quite simple. I just kind of switched between a screwdriver and a couple pairs of pliers, a needle nose, and a regular set. Just bend the tabs back, pull off the cover, pull the main brain component out, put it all back together, and it was essentially it. It was quite easy to do once everything was out. Okay, so I just went through and made sure everything is okay. I just changed the oil. I did a bunch of other things around the car. It is an absolute mess in this garage, but I think everything's good. I've noticed no leaks so far. Everything seems to be good. All we need to do is jumpstart the car. It is unfortunately 1 o'clock in the morning, and although I would love nothing more than to either start this car right now or make an ass load of noise because the exhaust isn't on, unfortunately I'm gonna wait till the morning so I don't piss anyone off that I like, because fuck the neighbors. Anyway, oil change is done. We have new transmission fluid. We have new differential fluid. We have a bunch of other little fucking new bushings, new this, new that. Obviously the fucking transmission is no longer an automatic. And if this car starts tomorrow morning, we're done. I mean, well, we still need to do a test drive. We still need to put the drive shaft in. I need to put the entire interior back in. I also need to re-level the wheels because they're all wrong. Damn. Let's see if the car starts first, and then we'll worry about the rest. The rest doesn't actually matter unless this car doesn't go way bright and early in the morning. See you guys. Good morning, beautiful people. We are just about to reconnect the battery. I am on some extremely low sleep right now, so we're gonna see how this goes. So I'm pretty sure the red wire goes in first. And really, my biggest concern with all of this is that the battery actually works. I know it might sound stupid. Oh, we have power. Let's fucking go. That's good news. I was a little worried, I'm not gonna lie, just because I know the battery's been disconnected for shit, I don't know, a month or so. And so like, I know, you know, since the battery's been disconnected, I really shouldn't have expected it to be dead, but also we've kind of had some wacky weather out here since I've unattached the car. So, put this battery terminal back on. Okay, one more. Honestly, the biggest thing is right now, we have power. I'm very excited about that. So I've just created this little bit of wiring. I don't know what I'm doing. I just took this from inside of the car. If you have an E36, you know that it has like a little flashlight thing next to the glove box. Mine has never worked since I've had the car, so probably bad idea. I'll wrap it up before we start driving, but I took some wiring from it and then I crimped it just like Quinn did. So we're gonna see if this works, so stay tuned. We have the wiring in. Let's, oh God, I'm kind of nervous. Let's try and start the car. Key on. We have battery. Car's turning on. Let's turn off the AC. I'm kind of nervous. It worked! Holy shit, I didn't think it'd start. It sounds absolutely terrible right now. It worked! Holy shit, I didn't think it'd start. It sounds absolutely terrible right now. That sounds horrible. It starts though. Oh, it fucking stinks in here. Wow, that's probably because the exhaust isn't on. I forgot to row through the gears. Fuck. Wow, brand new oil change, all new fluids, and fucking didn't even fucking hesitate to start. Let's go. We fucking did it. Let's go. That shit was so loud. It sounded like a fucking chopper going. Fuck, that's so sick. Okay, so we're gonna start again. We're gonna start the car, and my main thing is I want to make sure that the Guibo spins, the flex disc. So we're gonna start it. We're gonna let it warm up for, I don't know, maybe a few minutes, and then I'm gonna row through the gears. We are obviously in neutral right now. I hope so. Seems like it. So we're gonna start the car, let it warm up, shift through a couple gears. Wait, I didn't even realize this. I can literally see the Guibo right there. Okay, cool. Well, I guess I don't have to get up under the car. Okay, so it sounds really, really bad right now, but it's warming up. Honestly, I'm really happy that it started, so I'm also not gonna lie, it sounds kind of cool at the same time. So I'm gonna let it warm up for a little bit. I'm gonna run through the gears and we're gonna see what happens. Well, I think the first sign of victory might be this transmission light right here. We're gonna have this check engine light forever, but that transmission light will either A, go away, or B, I'm gonna have to pull this out and remove the light bulb because it's never gonna go away on its own. And as you guys just saw, the car it's complete. It's fucking done. Finally, I think I've had this car up on jack stands for about a full month now, which is no flex when I just kept running into issue after issue after issue. But the fact that the car started, I was able to row through the gears, I let it warm up, I got everything in, we just changed new diff fluid, new trans fluid, new engine oil, and it didn't even hesitate to start. That's insane. This car is just built different. It literally is. Also, I'm genuinely happy that the battery isn't dead because, yeah, although it wasn't connected to the car for a month or so, it's still a battery. Batteries die with age, and we've had some weird weather, so I was worried that something bad would happen. It cost me a few $100s just to get the car started. But shit, sorry. I'm just so ecstatic right now. All we need now, I did buy a DSSR shifter rod, which was supposed to be here a week ago, but we'll talk about that later. All I gotta do is put the drive shaft on, which the center support bearing should be here sometime this week. So I haven't fully decided if I'm gonna end the video here, and in the next video, we're gonna put that on, get a new drive, or what. But depending on the length of this video remaining, that's my decision. So if I don't see you guys for another few minutes, I love you. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.